Hello everyone and welcome to another strategy session on the Progress in Chess channel. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe so you make sure that you never miss the new videos. And today we're gonna talk about the strategy called exchange imitation. So the idea of this strategy is that white move one of their pawns forward, kind of offering opponent to make exchange. However, after opponents take this pawn, we move instead of taking this pawn, we move our pawn forward. The idea of this strategy is that thanks to disappearing of our d pawn in this example that I just showed, our forces get activated. And opponent's pawn is actually disturbing all opponent's pieces. So I believe example from real game can show the idea of this strategy much better. So let's take a look at this. On the screen you see a game that was played in USSR in 1982 between Ramanishin and Pologaevsky. So in this position, and you can actually take a pause and think a little bit, knowing the strategy that we discussed today, what would be the move for white? And yes, actually it's quite natural in this position that white played e5, thus offering opponent to take this pawn, and if we would take this pawn, then bishop would take e5, actually winning a pawn. So let's see what happens next. Of course, black takes on e5, and here, as you already understand, instead of taking pawn on e5, white plays f5. And with this exchange imitation, white won space on the king side and are very close to black king now. At the same time, we also see that, so let me just make a couple of next moves first. So of course black need to move bishop somewhere, so bishop d7 was played, and then white played bishop g5. Yes, and as I said, so white won a lot of space on the king side. At the same time, white activated actually both bishops. First bishop came to g5, now pinning this knight on e7 and threatening black king, because a lot of white pieces are very close. And at the same time, now this bishop on g2 is extremely dangerous, because it can shoot too far away, and then it can also go to d5, giving check and attacking further black king, and also square or sell e4, which is very strong, that protects center and allows white pieces to maneuver a lot, is under control for white now. So this move, or this exchange imitation, was amazing for white. But let's see what happened next. So black played of course h6, which is quite a natural move. And now if black would play queen c7, instead of h6, if black would play, for example, queen c7 to avoid this pin, then white would play f6, and if black would take it, bishop takes f6. And the following game could look something like, well, if e4, then bishop takes, and rook has to take it because otherwise queen goes to h5, and then at some point doubling rooks, and also queen g4 check with bishop on f6 would be a big threat, and black would be in a huge trouble. And at the same time, if if instead of queen c7, black would play, for example, e4 right away, then the game would be something like knight takes e4, threatening bishop on d6, queen c7 now, and f7 again. Pawn takes, bishop takes, for example, bishop to e5, trying to somehow protect king side. Queen h5, strong, very strong idea, as I just mentioned. Bishop takes, knight takes, check. Rook has to take, otherwise there is knight to g5, doubling rooks and so on, and also bishop to d5 is quite big threat at the right moment, or bishop to e4, threatening h7 together with queen. I mean, like this. So black had to take this one, and then it's actually already winning, because then it's doubling the rook, activating this bishop, queen g5, and all these threats that I just mentioned. So yeah, we already see that this position for white is winning, absolutely winning. But let's see, black played h6, which is pretty natural move, trying to get rid of this bishop on g5 as soon as possible. And then bishop d5 check. And what is interesting is that if black king moves to h6, then it's knight to g6. And if pawn takes bishop, then of course it's easy, it's mate in one. Yes, so black wouldn't play this. After knight g6, if for example black plays e4, then bishop takes e4. For example, bishop takes g3, we take bishop, and rook has to go f6, sacrificing. Already black is okay to lose some material, because otherwise there is no defense for them. And then it would be bishop takes, gf, still queen h5, probably something like queen g8, and then rook f4, knight takes, pawn takes, king to g7. If king to h8, then it's white taking pawn on h6, queen h7, white takes queen, mate. And then doubling the rooks again, and then actually something like this would happen in the real game. So we see that white pieces are so active, there is one passed pawn, so it's so dangerous for black and absolutely winning for white. So let's get back to this situation. Yeah, so bishop d5 check. We just saw that king h7 is not an option, because then it's losing after knight g6. And actually here, and what was played in the real game, knight takes d5. And then of course bishop takes d8. Probably something like this. Knight e3 is quite natural move for black. And then queen g5, h5, sorry. And then if knight takes, rook takes, maybe bishop e8, trying to get rid of white queen, queen g4, sorry, rook takes, and f6 still. g5, knight e4, king h8, knight f5, bishop g6, knight takes bishop on d6, already winning material. And now if bishop takes on e4, knight takes e4. If rook takes on d6, sorry, knight takes d6. So white has a lot of material, and it's absolutely winning. Yeah, let's take a look at another potential defense. It's rook to f7, and we already see that it's winning material. However, I also believe that after this move, the game is still over. All these threads that we just looked at, white can repeat them in each situation and win all the, not all the pieces, but all the game actually. So that's the example. We see that imitating exchange, white managed, so this is just a recap, white managed to win many strong cells. Black pawn that took on e5 actually blocked bishop for a while and also didn't allow black knight from c6 to jump on e5 in the right moment, and at the same time allowed white bishops to activate, both white bishops, to create a lot of threats for black on the king side and activated white pieces overall very much. So look at this strategy, or look for this strategy during your games and try to practice and find the right moments when to apply this strategy. I hope you enjoy this. Subscribe to my channel and you will see more interesting strategy videos for sure in the nearest future. Thank you.